Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney.
And I'm MK.
And how are you?
You know, I have not been sleeping very well.
Same.
And it's because I have been having the most absolutely fucked up dreams. Like batshit crazy, cannot explain. Tried to walk Dan through one of them the other day, and he was like, "But how did you get back?" And I go, like, I was talking about being in Italy, and then I was talking about being at my house. He's like, "How did you get back?" I go, "I don't know. My dreams don't make sense." He has, I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before, but he doesn't ever have nightmares. He has dreams that are mildly annoying. That's what he calls them. He goes, "I had a night annoyance." He doesn't,
Of course he does.
he, and he is fully aware that he is dreaming all of the time in his dreams. I have like full on sagas where I travel to like multiple countries in the same dream without ever traveling. Like, I do not, you okay?
There's someone outside the door, and it kind of sounded like a cop radio, but I couldn't tell if it was just a deep voice or a cop radio. And so I was trying to listen
Listen.
to while I was listening to you and see if they're coming closer to my door. And I was like, are they coming to my door? Or are they trying to go to a different door? But there was also just a situation on last episode when we were recording that was happening outside my door that you couldn't hear. And so I'm not sure if it's related or not. There's a lot of things happening here that don't happen at my apartment. And so I'm not very good at I've been learning how inattentive I am mentally. And so I'm sorry for my facial reactions. But it's fine.
No,
They went
but
to a different hotel room.
oh, good, great. But yeah, so like he was like trying to ask the through line of my dream, and I was like, "What the fuck do you mean? No, that's the point. They don't make sense." I wake up in the morning and go, "What was that?" But I blame The Exorcist for my current like cycle of dreams
That's
because
not good.
no, because I have not had any nightmares. But what has happened is often, quite a few times, I have like laid down to go to sleep and felt like I started to have like that anxiety that I have after I watch scary things. And I have like meditated and talked myself out of having a nightmare. So I'm like consciously pushing those thoughts out of my head, which means that all the thoughts that do pop into my head make absolutely no sense.
Yes.
So like
Yes.
I'm not having nightmares, but it's still the exorcist's fault that I'm having the dreams I'm having.
Well, I will tell you the same thing I tell Rachel because she has wild dreams that make absolutely no sense. If you like voice memo them and send them to me and I write a book out of it, I'll give you some royalties from my book if it ever makes any
Fantastic.
money. Because
Fantastic.
I love like when I write, I love to just like have a wild idea and then just take it in a billion directions. Like I just need like one thought. Like I mean, obviously we have our alien book I'm gonna write, but
Yeah,
like if it comes from your dreams, totes will like cut you in.
perfect.
If it makes
Um,
any money. If it doesn't, I'll just say thanks in the book too.
right.
You know.
The other thing that has been causing me to have weird dreams is that I've been stressed a lot lately. And my biggest stress in life is that Friday night, I became completely convinced that I am the worst pet parent in the history of the world and that I have never done anything right in my entire life. And I had a full-on breakdown,
It's
and
not true.
Dan called me, and I started telling him what was going on. And I just started sobbing on the phone with him. I was like, "I can't even keep a fucking lizard alive. How am I supposed to have children?" And he goes, "Whoa, stop. Hold on. Back up. You have," he's like, "you have done nothing wrong." So for those of you who don't already know my drama like Courtney does, my gecko had stuck shed on her toes on Friday, which, if you are a reptile person, you will know is a very, very common thing that happens to geckos. And some people have issues with stuck shed every single time the gecko sheds. This is the first time in 11 months I have had any shed issues. And I did all of the things you're supposed to do. And I gave her a steam bath Friday night, and I rubbed her toes and tried to get the shed off, which wet.
Oh,
Hold on.
your mic cut out for a second.
I added extra. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I heard the last thing you talked about was her steam bath and shedding
yes.
webbing.
Yeah. So I rubbed her toes after I put her in the steam bath, which she absolutely hated. And then I added extra wet, like paper towels into her hide. So it was even more humid than usual, and let her go and lay in the paper towels. And then I left her alone and I didn't like touch her at all for a day. And then when I came back and looked at her again Sunday morning, her toes are perfectly fine. They look so good. And I was so happy. But I literally just was like, so between watching The Exorcist Saturday and Friday, thinking that I was going to have to take my gecko to an exotic vet to have her toes amputated, like it's been a rough weekend.
I want you to know that this is like the most spoiled gecko in all of time. Like, it is so well treated that like it's like you are such like a mothering type to this gecko.
Oh my God.
That
Today
that
I
is the
thought
last thing I would
Today
say.
I thought I lost this pen again, and it turns out I didn't lose it. It was just sitting under a pillow, but I never moved that pillow because Pip was sitting on it and I didn't want to upset her.
See, that's what I mean. That is prime example.
I also saw an opera this weekend that I literally cannot describe to you in any way other than it was straight up an acid trip. I felt so...
Does it have a name?
Well, it was Carmina Burana, which is not an acid trip, but this particular production of it, and like the Barcelona theater that like put it on, I genuinely, I couldn't. I was trying to explain to Dan everything that I had just seen on stage, because he was on stage, but like he was singing, so he couldn't see what was happening behind him on stage. And I was like, no, straight up.
I want you to know, if you tell me you see an opera that's an acid trip, the very last one I think you're going to say is Carmina Burana. Like,
correct, right?
That is not where I thought you were about to go.
When during the Swan song, they had like a video footage of humans on a spit roast, and like someone got naked on stage, and like people were in pools of water float. It was, when I tell you, I cannot... Yeah, I genuinely don't know what I witnessed. It was an hour and a half of my life that I cannot explain. And I saw all of this while sitting next to Dan's father. I went to the show with him, and I was sitting next to him while people stripped on stage.
Love that. Love that. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall. Also, because now I really want to see what's happening on this show, even if it's disturbing, which is what it sounds like.
It was. It was so bad that Dan's cousin came up to me at the end and was like, just so you know, because I know this was your first Carmina, that's not usually what happens.
I haven't seen it, but based on what I know about it, yeah, that's not what I would have guessed. So
it's just been a very emotional roller coaster of a weekend. So I'm great.
Excellent.
How are you?
Well, we're not going to talk about my emotions because they are everywhere. But I finished, speaking of, I finished The Good Wife.
Did you?
Which has quite a few seasons, but I had quite a few breakdowns. So I watched all of it. I was unprepared for season 5. For anyone who's watched it, I don't know anyone else who has watched this show. So if anyone has watched this show, please talk to me, because I need to talk about season 5 and I need someone to understand how I feel. But it's fine. I'm watching The Good Fight now. It's the spinoff that Christine Brinkley's in from 2018. Which, like, I'm always going to miss the spinoff. I just started it.
Christine Baranski, not Christine Brinkley.
Oh my God, I keep calling her Christine Brinkley. It's absolutely Christine Baranski. Like, oh my gosh.
Christine Brinkley's a model.
Yeah, those are very different people. Jesus. But like, I'm not usually super stoked about spinoffs. There are very few I found that I liked, but I've only seen like 4 episodes, but it seems fine so far. And I mean, I love Christine Baranski, so like, I'm in it for her regardless.
Perfect.
But yeah, so Speaking of shows, it's almost that time. It's August. It's close enough. October is when the next season of American Horror Story comes out. And let me take you on my journey. So, this is the first season that's been based off of a book. It's based off the book Delicate to Condition by Danielle Valentine. I've
Okay.
just forgotten her name. The book doesn't come out till, well, it came out today. Um, but here's the thing. I needed to know what was happening before today. So I went on NetGalley because I used to do book reviews and I got an early galley copy of it in June. And when I tell you that this season is going to be wild, it's also the first season that's not full, like written by oh my God, I can't remember anyone's name. It's way too late in my brain. You know, the guy, what's his name?
Oh,
Ryan Murphy. Jesus Christ.
yes. I was gonna say Brad, but Brad is my guy, not your guy. So Brad is
Yeah, no,
starting.
Brad's your guy. Ryan's my guy. It's written by a woman. It's not written by Danielle Valentine. But it's written by a woman. And Matt Shushkri, I don't know how you say his last name, but he plays Logan from Gilmore Girls,
Oh yeah,
who
yeah,
was
yeah.
also a main character in The Good Wife. So I'm like
Yeah.
on a Matt roll right now.
Right.
Plays one of the main characters. And I'm just saying, like, it's got, and like Kim Kardashian's in it, but she's playing an important but not often role. Like it seemed like her character is important to the story, but it's not as present, which we'll see if that's for the best or not. I'm gonna guess it's probably for the best. But
Hopefully.
um I'm very interested to see how this is gonna turn out. But the book was really good. I loved it. It was wild. I did not guess the end, which is always fun for me. But yeah,
Interesting.
so it's gonna be a interesting one. Emma Roberts is back. She's playing the lead. I think she's playing the lead. Um, yeah, so stay tuned. I will be vaguely talking about it when it comes out, but
Perfect.
I can't
Because we
wait.
will
But
for sure not be caught up by October.
oh my gosh, no. I mean, I'll be caught up, but the podcast won't be.
Right.
Um, so in the meantime, before we get into our horror for the day, please enlighten me with some spiritual guidance.
You know, I wrote this on Saturday in my notebook to read to you. I think actually, I think it's really good for where you're at in life right now, where we're all kind of at in life.
Great.
Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Albert Einstein.
That is the truest. Literally, that has been like me every day. I'm like, I
Yeah.
just have to keep going because if I
Just keep
stop,
going.
everything falls apart.
Yeah.
So I just have to keep going.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll be fine by Saturday. Everyone, by the time you hear this, I'll be fine. But today has just been a little bit stressful, as have the past 2.5 weeks. So the way I like to add to my stress is by watching The Exorcist. little horror therapy for you. Um, this is season 1, episode 3, called Let 'Em In. It aired. Also, I'm so sorry if I start sounding nasally because I feel my like face inflaming from probably getting sick. It aired October 7th, 2016, which is the day that the new American Horror Story comes out is October 7th. If you didn't know.
Nice.
It is rated 8.1 out of 10. The number one song is Still Closer by the Chainsmokers. The number one movie is Girl on the Train. And I'm not sure I read the book still. I feel like I was gonna read it. But then I read like 3 different books about trains in a row, and now I don't know if I read it or not.
I don't
Have
remember.
you read it?
I haven't read it, but I know I haven't read it, and I know I haven't seen the movie because I kept saying I was going to read it, and then I never read it. To be fair, that
I know
Nora
I haven't seen the
Roberts,
movie.
that Nora Roberts book that I read, was the first book that I've finished since 2019, probably.
Ah,
It's been a
yeah,
long time of not.
I've been reading a lot lately.
Yeah.
I'm on
Oh, but I didn't tell
But-
you. My mom
yes.
bought me second and third book before I even finished reading the first book.
She got
So
you the second
now,
book? Is that what you just said to me?
yeah, she bought me the second
I'm so
and
sorry.
third book. She bought me the second and third book, so I'm almost done with
So
the
you're
second book.
prepared.
Yeah, I'll finish the second
Nice.
book tomorrow. So that's
That's
two
exciting.
books. That's two
I'm
books
halfway
in
through the
two
book I'm
weeks.
reading.
2 books in 2 weeks.
You better start your Goodreads challenge. Better log it in.
Yeah, that one.
I have not read this one. This is a different one that I've read. It's something
Okay.
else about a train that I read. But I've heard good things about it, so I will read it one day. It's by Paula Hawkins. Um, yeah, I'm halfway through the book I'm reading for my book club. That's not till August 24th anyway. So
Nice.
I'm
You wait, but you
through
said
some
that
stuff.
that wasn't the number one book right then. That was the number one movie, right?
Yeah, but then I couldn't remember if I read the book or not. So I
Right.
started
No, no,
talking
no.
about the book.
I know. We started talking about the
Yeah.
books, but I was like, wait, but we were definitely talking about the movie of Girl on the Train, not the
Yes.
book.
Yes.
Okay.
Because that one had either Amy Adams or Isla Fisher. I don't remember.
Oh, yes. I don't know which one it was with.
Yeah.
I know Amy
And the
Adams
number
I know Amy Adams is Enchanted, and I know Isla Fisher is Confessions of a Shopaholic, and then I don't know who they
yes,
are any other time.
that's fair. I think that's correct. The number one book is Home by Harlan Coben. I have not read any Harlan Coben books.
Me either.
I think I'd like them. He has his own section on Netflix because he came out with like 6 Netflix specials of his shows after like COVID. People love him. He's very popular. I haven't read him. One day I might. He writes thrillers, so I probably will try to read him one day. Um, I won't say I have happy news for today. And it's kind of like generic, but it's some interesting things to kind of put you back in the mindset.
Last week we talked about a hurricane, so
and I have an update. Hurricane Matthew has now hit the US. We are now post Haiti.
So my story about Robert and being a shitbag is actually more connected to this week than last week.
Yes. Yes.
Got it. Well,
so this was today. And then there was a wing found from Malaysia Airlines 370, which is interesting. I don't know that I remember that happening.
I remember it disappearing. I don't remember them finding the wing.
Oh, yeah, I remember it disappearing. I don't remember them finding the wing. But this is also in the midst of Hillary's emails being released and Donald Trump being grabbing women and whatnot. So like that is smack dab where we are in 2016.
Right. October 2016
for where we are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, good times. Our director is Michael Nankin. Yeah. I always think I'm saying his name wrong because I can't write the end of the word when I write it down, it seems like. But yeah, same director. Writer. We have the creator, and then we have the screenplay creator that are listed every time, and then we have a different writer for this week is Dre Ryan. She is known for Man in the High Castle, Colony, and The Messengers, which I don't know as much about. But I know
Man in the High Castle and Colony are like 2 of the best.
I know. So I don't know anything fun about her. Sorry. I don't know anything fun about a lot of these people, but I can tell you what they're known for.
Right.
The editor is Janet Weinberg. She's known for Hacks, which is a really good, if you haven't seen it, it's on Max. Interview with a Vampire 2022, which I haven't watched yet.
No.
Better Things, which I did watch. It has Lisa Cardinelli. Is that her name?
Linda Cardellini?
Yeah. That one. That's her name. And I was like, you'll get it.
Yeah.
And Jane the Virgin, which I loved. Jane the Virgin.
Yeah, you and my
one
brother.
of my favorite shows I've seen. Oh, so good. Did you watch it?
No.
Oh God,
it's one of those things where it's not that I don't want to, it's just that I haven't had time. I'm still trying to catch up with YouTube videos from 2020. So like
Right. Well, Jane the Virgin came out before 2020, so go back. But no, it's like one of the better written shows, and it's that I've seen in a while, I feel like. But I really like it. I digress. Our guest star, or our star we're talking about this week, is Kurt Eggewan.
Okay.
Because we have still not made it to our main characters that I thought we would talk about by now in the credits, which is fine. He plays Father Bennett. He is known for Beasts of No Notion,
No Nation. Yeah, Beast of No.
Skyfall.
You don't
Oh
know
my
Beast
gosh,
of
I
No
can't read
Nation?
anything I'm writing. I
You.
don't. I don't.
Oh, okay.
What is it? Is it good?
So,
Like,
yeah, I'm trying to remember. It won like it was in 2015. It won like a bunch of awards. It was based about one of the, I don't remember which country in um the which country. Oh, it's set in an unnamed country in Africa, but I don't remember which country it's
hmm.
based off of. But it's about one of the civil wars in Africa, and it stars Idris Elba, and it was just like
Oh, that's
super,
interesting.
super intense. I'm trying to
So I started
remember.
law school in 2015. I don't know
Right.
what happened in 2015.
Um, it it was based on a book by Uzodinma Iwali, and I think it, I'm trying to remember. I thought it won some awards, but it doesn't look like it did. Oh no, it definitely did. What is that award?
I think I saw that it did when I was looking him up earlier.
Yeah,
Um,
um, but yeah, it was. Oh, it won a bunch of stuff at a bunch of film festivals, and then it was released on Netflix.
mm,
But yeah, it was a big deal when it came out. And I'm trying to, there was somebody, Kurt was, I felt like there was a kid who was like the main kid in it was like a big deal. Um,
mm, I don't know. I
oh,
didn't know Kurt until this show.
oh no, the kid who played the child soldier was named Abraham Atta, and he was then in Spider-Man, like No Nation or Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man No Way Home. He
Mm,
like it like launched
okay.
his career. So
Gotcha. Um, yeah, nope, did not know existed. But I'm glad that it did so well.
yeah.
So he's known for that, Skyfall, Pan, and most recently House of Dragon. Um,
Okay.
so he's like doing stuff. He's like
Yeah.
killing the game. Um, and just like a fact about him, he started out in theater in England and he did a
Oh
lot of
shit.
Shakespeare stuff and he won some awards for like it seems like some like newer plays and stuff. Um, and then he went into acting for a few years and then went back to theater and now he's pretty much just full acting, like film and TV. So
Nice.
now it's time to
Great.
let him in. Please don't. Do not let any demons
No.
in.
No, 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 no,
Um,
no.
so we start 5 months ago and we're in the car with Kat and her friend Julia. And you know this isn't going to end well because you already know what happens. So
Correct.
you're just waiting. However, what we didn't know is they were actually in love with each other. And so they're having this really cute conversation back and forth. And like you can tell they've been friends for a while, but they've like never admitted their feelings. And like the visuals are really cool in this scene to me because they have so you know like focus feature how it has like the company has those like
Yeah.
golden circles that kind of go through stuff. It was that those kind of I mean I know you know we watched it but it was like those
Yeah.
kind of like golden circles and it
Yeah.
kind of felt like a reflection of like a flame almost was like on them and it just felt
Yeah.
like you know something bad's about to happen. And
Hmm.
so I really liked the way they used the like lighting there. um and then they were confessing their love and she died. And
Okay.
that was really tragic.
But did you see why she died?
I thought she looked away.
She
Didn't
she
she look?
looked she looked away, but when then she looked back on the road, did you see what was on the road? Why she swerved?
Oh no, I didn't. I sure didn't.
It was the guy from outside the church. He was standing in the middle of the road.
Oh, I totally missed that.
I was I
Look,
was
my brain is not
I
100%.
was pissed.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll
And then
do it.
especially with what happens with
Um,
him later this episode, I was like, the fuck.
yeah, they really love a good tie-in of like something you know nothing about that they
Yeah.
just throw into the first scene and then they tie it all in
Yeah.
together. Um, but yeah, and then we go to the credits. And my first thought is like, what if Julia starts possessing all of them? Like, what if she becomes a demon? I understand that that's not realistic
I was
and
gonna say
probably
that's
won't
not
happen.
how I don't think
But
that's how demons work. I'm pretty like 90% confident that at least in this world that that's definitely not how demons work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not how that's gonna go, but
Great. As long as
my
we're on
brain
the
was
same
like,
page on
how
that one.
tragic would that be? Yes. So then we jump to today, and we have the guy yelling about demons and the end of time and whatnot,
Yeah. Oh no, not
outside
that.
of,
That wasn't
uh,
yeah, that was a different guy than I'm talking about the beardy guy who I thought
yeah.
was Paul Giamatti who was in the first scene.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So this is the crazy guy that
This is a different crazy guy, yeah.
is, yeah, a different crazy guy. And he's yelling about demons and end of time and whatnot and
Yeah.
outside of Angela's apartment. And Father Bennett arrives to meet with Angela because we've been talking about her children being possessed and whatnot. And
No, I thought Father Bennett was
oh
meeting
wait,
with her. That wasn't at her apartment. It was at
oh
the
my
place where
gosh,
they're
it
gonna
was
have the
not.
Pope. The
Yep,
place where
sure
they're yeah.
is. I am sorry to
Okay.
everyone for my brain's
Father
existence,
Father Bennett
but
is
thank
there to
you.
discuss the Pope's trip.
Yes, correct. And I told you I took notes, and now they like don't make sense in my brain. It's totally fine. Um, and so they're talking about it, and then we jump back to the house where the family was murdered last week. And there's two guys hanging out that live in the neighborhood, obviously, because
Mhm.
they're talking about all the neighborhood stuff. And they're like, you know, that like this is some like crazy white guy who did this. He started saying like the most white names there. It was so funny.
That was
And they're
so
like,
funny.
because they're like, we are not the type of people that do this. This is
Yeah,
insane stuff.
no,
Like,
he was like gangs. He was like, yeah, there's a lot of violence on this side, but gangs don't cut your eyeballs out and keep them. Like that is
exactly.
not. He was like,
Yeah.
that is a
That's
white
another
ser.
level.
He said that is a white guy with three names.
Yeah. He's like, you know it is. And he starts like coming up with all these names. And then Marcus comes up because, you know, he can't stay out of anything, probably for the
No,
best. We
yeah,
need him.
we need him right
And
now.
he starts asking questions because he hears them talking about it. And they like don't want to talk to him because they're like, you're a cop. We're not telling you any of this stuff. And then he shows them he's a priest. And they immediately are like, yeah, we'll tell you everything. Maybe not quite that, but they did just
Yeah,
immediately
but
tell him
like
everything he
it
asked.
is interesting because I thought it. This is back to things that actually don't have anything to do with the episode, but just like comments
Mm-hmm.
on like society and everything. There is this really it's really interesting. And if you look into a lot of, especially in inner city demographics, and like, especially like I know having grown up in a city that has a predominantly minority like population,
Yeah.
um, African Americans who live in low income neighborhoods and like deal with crime a lot also tend to be much more devoutly religious than other people in like those cities. Like that is
Yeah.
obviously a stereotype, but it's a stereotype that's based in reality. And so like it didn't surprise me at all that they immediately were like, even if they weren't Catholic, because a lot of times you don't see African American people being as likely to be Catholic as they are to be like non-Catholic religions, but or like Christian religions, but like immediately
Yeah.
being like, no, for
Yeah.
sure. Like that switch didn't feel fake at all.
Oh no, it didn't at all. And like, although Marcus did seem a little threatening, it was like you were saying
It's
you're a
definitely
priest,
like,
but in the most threatening way.
you know,
It's
okay,
like, I guess you do you.
right. I mean, I'm not saying if I was trying to talk to a priest and confess my sins, like Marcus would be who I'd pick. But like,
Sure. I don't know. I might would. I feel safe with him.
I feel safe with the angry man.
He feels like the one that like is there for the right reasons. Like,
Well, yeah, because he's not going to be a creep. He doesn't have the time to like fake. Like you can't Marcus is not the kind of guy who's like touching little children because no kid is going to
no.
willingly go alone with that man. Like he is way too angry for that.
But like he's also the one that like if I had to pick a priest to fight a demon with, he's the one
Oh,
I'm
no,
picking.
for
Like
sure. For
so like
sure.
definitely but like also if I'm like walking down the street at night and there's like a gang of 20 people coming at me, he's also the priest I'm picking to fight with me for that. So like more about like preservation than like confessionals, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Things that
Yeah.
people don't usually think. Which priest would be my bodyguard?
Another book, the priest, the bodyguard's priest's bodyguard. They're both priests. I don't know. I'll workshop it.
I
I'll
don't.
come back. I'll
We'll
come
figure
back
it out.
to that one.
We'll get there.
But he learns that the eyes were cut out, and he knows that that's not normal for murderers. And then we go to the church, and Henry is talking to Angela. I'm sure if I remember, I didn't write it down. And he's talking about how like oh no, he's talking to Tomas because he's telling him, he's like, you don't believe in demons or any of this stuff, do you? He's like, you just really don't come across that way. And
Yeah.
Tomas is playing like very straight edge. He's like, doesn't matter, this and that, blah blah blah. And then they start talking about Casey. All of my allergies kicked in for this episode. I'm sorry. So then they start talking about Casey and being demonically possessed and whatnot. And Henry knows that something has to be done, but he doesn't know like what to do. So he's like, what do we do? And then Marcus walks in, and I was like, yeah, that's your answer. He's the one. But instead he gives him some like, we'll make it through. We're gonna get through this talk.
Yeah.
And so we go to Casey and Cap, who we learn are trying to close for Julia's memorial. Also, why is the memorial 5 months later? That feels like a long time.
It does. Sometimes I guess it depends on like what kind of, I mean, when we see what it is and the fact that it's actually not like a memorial service, it's their ballet company dedicating a show to her, that makes sense for it to be 5 months later. Like sometimes it takes time to process and arrange and
yeah.
And so like that is totally different than because at first I was like, and sometimes like it depends. So like when my grandpa died when I was 12, he died in like early March, and in Buffalo you can't really dig in early March. Sure. So we had like a church funeral in March, but then we had like a memorial in the summer where we actually like buried his body. So like,
and like that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But I don't know. I was like, that caught me off guard. I was like, that's the weird time to have that. But Casey's trying on clothes for the memorial, and Kat's trying to just rush her. And then the creepy demon shows up again, and he's trying to convince her to wear this very form-fitting and more risque dress than she would normally wear. And there's nothing wrong with wearing this dress, but it is not Casey's style at all.
It's also not a memorial, really.
Also not a memorial dress.
But then again, what Kat is wearing didn't really feel like it was for a memorial either, except for that it was black. Like,
right, yeah. But like none of them, like they were all like, none of the people really felt like they were in the right memorial.
And then it turns out that they're actually just there for a ballet opening that they're dedicating. It's not the same. It's not really a memorial. We don't know what a memorial is, I think.
Yeah, there seems to be some confusion there.
Yeah.
But he tells her, she's like, oh my God, I can't have this dress. It's $3,600. And
that's fucking a lot.
Steal it.
I'm sorry. That is a lot of money for a dress. Like, I could see.
I don't know how rich I'd have to be.
My sister didn't even spend that much money on her wedding dress.
Right. Like, I don't plan to spend that much on a wedding dress. Like, I don't know how rich I'd have to be to like spend that much on a dress.
Plan to spend that much money on a wedding dress, but like I'm not making promises because you've met me.
Sure. Yes.
But yeah, no. That's a lot for just like a casual dress.
Yeah. Yeah, too much. And so, he tells her to steal it. And then we go to Father Marcus, who's gone to the girl's house, or goes to like Angela's house. I don't know their last name. I don't know how I've missed their last name in all this, so I just keep calling the house different people's. But
Rance. Their last name is Rance.
Rance.
Rance. Rance. Yeah.
Thank you. I for sure did not remember that. So he goes to the Rant's house, and he's asking, like, he's going around the sisters' rooms, and he's asking if they're friends, and like finds a creepy jewelry box, like music box, that you know is not going to go well because
Yeah, no,
never
because
does.
creepy music boxes
Um,
never go well.
not the one, yeah. And then we jump over to the. It seems the Cardinals' dinner. He seems to be the one that like is in charge, but it's their preparation for the Pope to arrive. Um,
Correct.
and so the annoying lady is leading the dinner, as she seems to lead everything, and she's trying to send the Pope to more rundown towns. She's like, let's send him to the like more underprivileged areas and make it more widespread and all this. And everyone's like, yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
What?
But also he's like the Pope and has a tight schedule. Why are you waiting till like 2 weeks before he's there
See,
to rearrange?
I was confused on what her point of view was because I thought it wasn't necessarily that she cared about where he was going. She was just trying to like not have him drive and basically like be like, take the L train, do these things, use Chicago's
Yeah.
infrastructure, make it worth our money. Um, which
Well, I wasn't sure because it seemed like she wanted to go to like the more underprivileged areas because she made a very pointed comment to like Tomas about where he lives.
then it felt like the way Tomas was arguing I didn't know if she was with him or against him. Like it was just
I don't know her
I
motives.
I don't know what she stands for.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of her yet. I mean, I don't like her, but
Oh no, I
otherwise I
for
don't know what to
sure
make
don't
of her
like her, but
yet.
I don't know if that's just because she's a bitch or because she's actually got bad intentions.
Right. Right, exactly. But we're interrupted because a girl starts screaming in the street and they walk outside and he's burning alive,
No, was
which is super
this
fun.
was the creepy guy from the beginning of this episode, not the Paul Giamatti guy.
No,
Or
this is the Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
This is the creepy guy from the beginning of this episode that was yelling about everything
okay.
when we opened. And because he had his little speaker box with him.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah. And he's just like burning alive and dying in the middle of the street, which is super cool. And there's a ton of black smoke that fills the sky, like a little much. So something's going on there. So we go to the church, and Casey is meeting with Tomas and Marcus, and Tomas is being very like low key. He's like, so we're just checking in. Do you speak other languages? And she's like, but he asked like in a different language. She's like, I don't know what you're saying.
She's like,
And
can
then
you
he's
try
like,
that one more
okay, no
time?
problem. Yeah. And then he's like, can you move this pen, but like not with your hands? Like
And
he's
she's like,
being
what
very
the
like
fuck?
chill about it.
But he's like, the problem is he's asking too directive questions. Like he's not like
Yeah.
trying to like communicate with her. He's just like, do a miracle so that I have video proof of
Right.
you having a miracle, like a non-human entity
Yeah.
inside of you. And Father Marcus is like, out of my way.
Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna happen. So he steps in. And he starts talking about the difference between Kat and Casey, and he's like, "You're the athletic one.
You're
She's the
not,
artistic one.
you're not pretty.
Yeah, like you've never been the pretty one." And then he starts telling her about the different types of plants and how like the prettiest ones are the ones that need the most care. And she's like, "Are you saying I'm a succulent?" And then he just like keeps going. And I was like,
He's
"That
like the
is
sturdy succulents don't need attention from other people. They do well and they're their own kind of beautiful, but they make it on their own and they don't need anyone. And the pretty flowering plants are the needy ones. And so the succulents have to grow without attention. And she's like, what are you even talking about? But also she knows exactly what he's talking about because
yeah,
he's like, you resent how much attention your sister has because she's prettier than you and you're never good enough and you've had to be this strong on your own. And I was
right." Like he lays it out.
no.
Um, and then after he's worked her up, he starts asking her how she feels about Kat. And she's like, yeah, I like her. And he's like, all the time? Do you like her all the time? And she's like, well, no, we're sisters, but like, and then he
No,
starts calling her a punching bag.
my question about that is that all it takes to become possessed by a demon is sometimes not liking your siblings? Because if that is the case, I'm screwed.
Oh, we we wouldn't make it. I think it's just how you
I
bring out the demon once it's
oh,
there. I don't think it puts the demon there. I think it just brings them
right.
out when they are there.
Because I'm like, I love my siblings. I love them so much. I don't like them all of the time.
Sure. Yeah.
And especially when I was a
Totally
teenager, I
fair.
for sure didn't like them all of the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, is that all it takes?
Yeah, I think the demon has to be there first. And then you can bring it out with that. So like I
Okay.
think you're okay right now.
Okay, cool.
Um
Cool.
yeah. And then he brings out her jewelry box. And this is where everything flies off the handle. So he's pulling stuff out and he pulls out a compact from ages ago. And he's like, "Where did you get this?" And she's like, "I don't know. I just like have it, whatever."
Yeah.
And and then the demon shows up and he's like watching her. And it's clear that he gave it to her because it's from like the
Yeah.
20s or something. And so he starts asking and he's like, "Where did you get this? Where did you get this? How do you have this?" And she's panicking. And the demon's just like, "Don't worry about it. It's just like don't
Sorry, I
answer
have
his
the
questions. Just like
hiccups.
act like you don't know anything." That's okay. I didn't hear them, so it's fine. Just breathe. You need to drink some water. Okay, great.
I think it was
Don't
just like
cry.
violent and out of nowhere.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool. So yeah.
Maybe you are possessed. I'm gonna start saying bad things about your siblings too. Bree is the worst.
She's
She's
not.
terrible.
I mean, some days. Just kidding.
Okay, you're not possessed. All better. You're all better.
Great.
Um, so he starts so then when she's like having these like mixed responses, he's like,
Yeah.
"Is he with us?" And the demon's like, "Okay, time to go. Get out of the room. You're done. You're done here." But she doesn't move, obviously, because she's like, "I just want to leave. I just want to leave."
And
And
she's like
then
shut
he's
down.
like, yeah. And he's like, "Has he hurt you?" And she's like, "No, he would never hurt me." And the demon's like, "Shut up. Don't talk about me." Like, and then things start falling off the walls. And
Yeah. The demon
then the
doesn't
demon
really,
comes out
really
in
does
her.
not like that she is talking. He is not happy about
No, and
that.
he especially that she's talking about him, regardless of what it is. And
Right.
so the demon arrives through her and they're recording everything and seeing her change and hearing her voice change. And then of course the demon brings up Gabriel. I assume that will be the thread through this entire
Yeah,
series
yeah, yeah.
for when demons show up for Marcus.
Also,
Until he kills a demon. That's my thought.
yeah. Also, when the demon comes outside of her and she does start speaking tongues, she's speaking in Aramaic,
Yeah. I
which
don't know what that means because not
no. Aramaic is a dead language that is very
right.
famously the language that Jesus spoke. It was the language of like
Oh,
the Middle East at the time of Jesus. It is not an existing language anymore.
gotcha.
It
I
is
was
the
like, that's
language.
not an existing Middle Eastern
No, it is
language.
the language that most of the Bible was originally written in.
Gotcha. That tracks. That tracks. That makes sense.
Yeah.
See, this is why we have you here.
Yeah.
Um,
Aramaic is not a language unless you have studied the Bible in like theology school, you don't speak Aramaic. That is not a thing.
no. Well, I sure don't. I sure don't speak Aramaic. Um, but she is. So that's cool, I
Yeah,
guess.
just casually.
And so then they're, of course, showing the video to the bishop and Father Bennett, and they're like still not believing it. They're like, this could be anything. This is like, she just needs to have
And that's Father
like
Marcus
needs to
is
go
like,
to a
what are
therapist.
you talking about? She's speaking Aramaic. That's why he
Yeah.
was so angry about it. He was like, no, that's not schizophrenia. That's a demon.
Yeah. This is something that doesn't exist and it's coming. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah.
And so then they start getting mad at Tomas because he's like, I think we should hear this out. Like I think this is the right way to do it. Like he's bless his heart trying to be so diplomatic.
Yeah.
He's so calm. And then Marcus is excommunicated. And that feels like severe. Like I am familiar with that as a concept, but I don't know a lot about it. Like, do you know of like other famously excommunicated priests? Like
No, I mean, I know famously excommunicated people like Galileo was
Sure, well,
excommunicated for
that's
saying that the earth was not the center of the universe. Um,
yeah,
and like, everyone who was part of the Church of England and the like making that a
right.
thing was excommunicated. Um, but like Martin Luther was excommunicated for saying that the church was
Hmm.
fucked up.
Yeah, well,
But like,
like
yeah, I
this just
don't.
feels really extreme for what's going on here. Like Marcus has got a lot going on, but like the reasons they gave were that he left St. Aquinas and never told anyone. He's not dropping this um this exorcism thing, and like
Yeah.
he like ran away. Like it's all stuff that it's like these aren't great, and maybe it's a reason to not like
Also,
have him like
he did also pull a gun on another priest, which is like kind of a big not a thing you should do, like as a human, like
I
not
mean
just
like
as a priest.
it's not great. I'm not saying
I
he
mean,
did good things, but like
it's definitely big
just
enough to not continue to be like you can't threaten violence as a priest. Like that is
that's true.
not every priest who threatens violence gets a letter straight from the Pope as fast as Father Marcus did. Um,
Marcus, yeah.
but yeah, you can't pull a gun as a priest. That's definitely a way to lose your
I
collar.
mean, I'm just saying, like, maybe we should have some more violent priests. Like, who knows? The world's a mess.
Sure, but is violence the answer? I don't know.
Have we found an unanswer yet? Like, how do we know
Oh,
it's
but
not the
we
answer?
because of the history of the number of wars this world has participated in that haven't answered any of the
Well,
problems.
I'm not saying start a war, but
But
like, if someone's acting out, like, what if you just like smack them a bit? Like,
no,
that's
you asked me
violence, but
how
it's
I
not
know
starting a war.
violence is not the answer. I
I'm not
know.
talking like extreme violence. It could be violent without like extreme consequences.
I don't know that you can. I don't
I think so.
in the grand
I
scheme
would
of
like to
things,
argue
I don't
for violence.
I am a violent person. And I don't think I do argue for violence. I think I know that that's a problem. It's just a problem that I haven't fixed.
That's okay. We'll agree to disagree.
Okay.
um, so this is demons are communicated. I don't know what happened next. I'm sorry. So he was excommunicated, and
Yeah.
then my next line says demons are communicated, and I don't know why. I think that I had a stroke while I was writing my notes. It's fine.
I,
So they've asked him to leave Chicago. Um, and they'll like restart. We'll give you some money for like I think they said 4 months or 3 months or something.
yeah.
And they're like, but just leave Chicago and start over, and it's everything's fine. And then he's like, so what do you make of all these like body parts being missing? Don't you know that's how like you? I don't know if this is when he talks about summoning demons. I don't actually think it is, but
I don't think it
like
is either.
he's like, this is a big deal, and they just like don't care. They just write it off. I'm like, okay, well,
They're
you can
like,
only
no, oh
like
no,
turn a
this
blind
is
eye so many times.
he says that,
Is
and
it?
they're like, you don't need 9 people worth of body parts to summon a demon. And he's like, you need nine
Oh yeah,
people to summon a lot of demons.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. So then we go to the Rance home, and the family is talking about the memorial, and Casey is getting dressed, and we hear them in the background talking about the memorial for Julia and everything, and she's wearing her $3,600 dress, and we see that she has like burn marks on the back of her neck, and then she starts burning herself with the curling iron. And I
she's
thought it was on
doing
her
it like
stomach,
and
but her
no,
dress isn't burned.
she's doing it in the middle of her arm. And then later in the episode you see that she has burns all over her arm. What the fuck is wrong with her parents that they're not asking questions about that?
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
the one on her neck and her shoulder, okay, it looks bad, but I've burnt the shit out of myself on my curling iron before. Like, and so like burns around your hairline or on your neck and your shoulders, okay, you can make up a reason why that is there. But all over your lower arm, that's
yeah.
intentional.
Yeah. So that's when you step in as a parent. But also
And
like she's doing a great job at looking demented. Like
oh yeah.
she's lost her mind. And then we go to Marcus and Tomas. And Tomas has obviously been looking for Marcus, trying to find him. And
Yeah.
he finds him at the pier. And he's like drinking so much. And he's like, I've been sober. I've been good. I've been doing all this stuff for 41 years. And now I'm not. He's like, now I'm excommunicated. So like, I'm going to
It
do what
doesn't
I want,
matter. Yeah.
basically. And Tomas is like, well, we still have to do this exorcism. Like, and Marcus is like, no, I'm not a priest anymore. I'm not doing any of these things. And he's like, well, I'll do it. You just walk me through it. And Marcus is like, absolutely not. He's like, this is a terrible idea. And
Yeah.
like, to be fair, it is a terrible idea. Like,
Yeah. No,
I
it's
don't
a
think Tomas
terrible
has
idea.
the like
The
strength
gumption.
to,
Yeah.
that's the word, that's the one to like push through. Um, I do wish Marcus would stay and try, but I understand why he's like, Tomas, you cannot do this.
Well, yeah, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Right. And so then we go to the memorial dance party thing. And poor Kat is just like devastated. She puts like the ribbon or the tie or whatever on the memorial pile. And Casey's real dolled up and it does not look like herself, which is
No.
unfortunate. And there,
Yeah.
this girl who I'm assuming is in charge of the ballet is like
Yeah.
giving a speech about how much they miss like Julia and everything and how sad everything is. And she pulls out whiskey to honor her, and everybody's
Mhm.
taking a sip and passing around. And Casey just like walks up and takes the whiskey and just like keeps drinking it. And Kat is just like distraught. She's like caught off guard. And so then we go to Marcus,
Is that?
who's we have a brief break before.
Oh, we have a brief break. Okay. I was like, there's
Yeah.
more to that scene, but
Yeah, no, we have a brief scene with Marcus where he's telling the Jesus in the window. What is it called? The colored glass window.
stained glass.
To stained glass. My gosh, I'm telling you, these like my allergies kicked in and my brain just like shut off. He's yelling at the stained glass window to shut up, and he burns his excommunication papers on the prayer candles.
Well, yeah, because
Which
you
is
don't, just because the Catholic Church says you can't be a priest doesn't mean your relationship with God just disappears. Especially if you've
right.
seen Jesus in the eye of the storm with the demons.
Sure. Yep. Now we're back to Memorial, and Kat goes and grabs Casey and tells her to leave. She's like, I don't know what's going on, but you have to stop this. We have to go.
You can't, yeah.
And that's when Casey tells everyone that Kat was in love with Julia. And I don't know if she was like not out or just hadn't told them that she's in love with Julia, but either way, it was kind of a dick move.
I think it was that she was not like out because I think that the whole her and Julia was like a weird, like neither of them expected it to happen kind of thing.
So that's also what I think. I just wasn't 100% sure here.
Yeah.
Because no one like gave a real reaction other than shock. So like it could have been for either reason. But yeah, so then we see that they're actually performing for the memorial and we see what's going on, which makes more sense, kind of. But Kat is just like devastated. Like she is just sobbing and I just feel so bad for her. So we go to Tomas and the annoying lady. I don't remember her name. I didn't write it down.
Oh, that this just so you know, this is where I
Watson?
began. Walters? Water.
Walters. It's Walters.
Yeah. This is where when Casey and Kat were both having breakdowns at the ballet is where I stopped it. Like, and this first scene is the first one that I watched today. So for the rest of the episode, I know more about what's happening.
You're here. Got
I'm
it.
here
Excellent.
now. Got it.
Excellent.
This
Well,
is where we go.
I watched all of it today, so I don't know where my brain's at. It's fine. So Tomas and Walters are looking at the beautiful view of Chicago, and he starts telling her this really nice story about his sister, like telling him about
Right.
like the waters in Chicago, and he thought it was an ocean.
Yeah. The only
yes.
reason that this story made an impact on me at all was because
Mhm.
literally on Sunday, I found out that the Sears Tower was not called the Sears Tower anymore.
What's it called?
The Willis Tower. They said that in the thing. He said something about the Sears Tower. She's like, it's the Willis Tower now. And it has been for some time.
You know, I did
And-
know that, I think. Now that
But
you say that.
I think I did at some point, but I was doing a crossword puzzle and it said former name of Chicago Tower. And I looked at it and I go, guys, is the Sears Tower not called that anymore? And my mom and my grandma and Dan were all like, yeah, no, it's definitely not. I was like, where the fuck have I been? And then I watched this episode
Look,
today and they were
wherever
talking
I've
about
been.
then I watched this episode today, and the first conversation that I watched today is, oh, the Sears Tower isn't the Sears Tower anymore. I was like, seriously, what is happening to my brain? I need to know when this
I got
happened,
really hung
though.
up on the lake stuff. Yes. You
That's
do a
fine.
quick Google.
Yeah. When Willis
So we
Tower.
also learn that is her last name Willis then? Because she has
No,
like
it's Walters. It is
it's
Walters.
Walters. Okay, I thought so.
She's
So
talking about the
her family owns like this, they made this glass that's unbreakable or whatever. And that's what they use on the tower. And that's what like the windows are made of.
2009, it stopped being the Sears Tower.
I don't even think I knew that the Sears Tower existed before 2009. So like that's false. Fake news. False.
That is
What's happening?
bonkers. Or is their last name Watson?
Maybe.
Because
it's something like
because the Willis Tower is the Willis Tower Watson. Like that's the actual name of it.
Maybe so. I'm sorry I'm less prepared mentally than I should be.
My problem is I'm
really annoyed by her, and so I didn't look her up. Like that's what happened. And I was like, I don't like her. And now I'm like asking all these questions. I'm like, I should have just looked her up earlier.
Yeah.
But her family, it would make sense because her family like owns all this stuff. She's like super rich.
Oh no, it is Walters. Okay, it is Walters. It's Marina Walters.
Okay. Yeah. So she's talking about all this stuff, how rich she is, yada yada. And then she gives him a check for $100,000.
Casual.
Just out of nowhere. And she's like, do something good with it. And she does it apparently because her husband, yeah.
Well, and he's like, where I grew up, when you gave this kind of money, you wanted something. So what do you want? And she was like, for you to take the money. I don't trust her.
Yeah, she's like, my husband's dying and he likes the church. I was like, okay.
You don't seem like the kind of person who gives a flying fuck what your dying husband cares about.
Absolutely. So that was also my thoughts. And so now we're back at the memorial and Casey is sweating. She is like not well.
No.
And so she runs out and Henry runs after her. And he's like, for all of this talk in the first episode of him like not having a brain, he's much more like involved and like aware than I would have expected for the rest of the season.
He said something in this episode about what happened and why he has that. And he said that something like hit his head. Like something fell and hit his head. And I have personal experience with this. Not me, but my aunt used to work at Disney. And she was working at Disney at a time where they were doing a renovation of Splash Mountain, and a steel beam fell and hit her in the head.
Jeez.
She got a huge settlement from Disney she also got severe brain damage. She's not like a not functioning person. Like she's still like, even when it happened, like there was some recovery time, but what it did was it changed a lot of her personality and her choice decision making, and she went through a real rough patch for a while there.
Makes sense.
And so once he said that and explained that, I totally got more what it was. It was that like his memory is fucked. And he's still in that like regaining control of his personality and stuff. So it's not,
that makes way more sense.
it's not like total complete brain damage like vegetable. It's just it's depending on what part of his brain was injured, there's totally different learning curves.
So that makes sense, but it way sounded like he was like a vegetable in the first episode when they talked about him.
Yes, it did. So, if he hadn't had that moment with Father Tomas in this episode where he said that something like that the beam fell and hit him in the head, I would not have had that. I would have had the same like anger toward their portrayal of him. But that one conversation changed my thought. I think in the first episode it was done poorly. I agree that the way they describe it in the first episode versus the way they describe it in this episode, two different descriptions.
Very different things,
But I do understand now why he's just a little not great.
Yeah. That makes way more sense. Yeah, so he follows her out. And so we go to Marcus and he's knocking on someone's door. I don't know that we know whose it is, but I wasn't sure. When Bennett shows up and picks him up. And I was like, this doesn't seem fun. They don't like each other. Turns out okay. Marcus is this is when Marcus explains the body parts are being used to summon demons. And he's like, you don't need that many body parts. He's like, no, it's for a lot of demons. Like bad things are coming. And then Bennett starts telling him, he's like, I wish you could have gotten it together because you have a lot of friends here. Like you could have done good things here, but like here we are. And like apparently after seeing the like burning guys, what really set him off to being like he needed to help Marcus, like Marcus was meant to do something. And he starts going into like how he also doesn't want the Pope to be there because it's not the right time. Like, and that's when we first hear that maybe the church was compromised. Dun, dun.
Yeah. But when I immediately, when he handed the stuff to Marcus, knew what it was saying. I was like, oh, I get it.
I didn't know exactly. I knew it was going to be something to help him, but I didn't know what. But he gave him the two train tickets. And then on the back of it, he had like a list of all of the like quote unquote friends that he could like trust in.
Yeah. But so the two train tickets, one was a ticket from Chicago to Tallahassee. The other one that was hidden he didn't give it to him, was a train ticket from Elgin to Chicago.
Yeah. So
I was like, oh.
So Bennett might not be such a bad guy.
I was like, okay. I see you, Father Bennett. Okay.
So maybe we don't want to punch him in the face anymore. I don't know. We'll see. So then we're back to Henry and Casey. And he's trying to talk to her, and she just keeps blowing him off because she's a bit of a, like, got things going on in her head with her demon and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then he starts having, like, an issue and, like, kind of, like, passes out, but it's not, like, enough that anything happened. She doesn't seem, like, worried, but he just kind of, like, falls asleep.
I didn't like her lack of empathy for her dad, who clearly looked like he was having a minor stroke.
Right. That's what I thought at first. And then it was like, I guess he just fell asleep. Like, and that's fine. So that was also, I agree. It was like a weird choice.
Yeah.
But then this group of stupid guys get on the train and one of them starts hitting on her. And no one's doing anything. And it is so frustrating. I'm sure it's meant to be a comment on society, but it is so frustrating because, like, they're just there. There's so many people there. He's like like a useless guy. It's not like he's some big tough guy like that people
No.
are scared of.
It's just that
He's
he's
just
with
like
a group. It's just
obnoxious.
that he's not alone. He's not alone.
Yeah,
He's with a group.
yeah.
And that
And
is
so no one's doing
absolutely a
anything.
comment. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then the demon comes on board and then like starts like kissing her, which
I
I
literally was
don't
like,
enjoy.
what the fuck? I
Yeah, I
said,
don't enjoy
so
that.
so Dan was at my house today and I was like, I'm so sorry. I have 10 minutes of this episode left. And he does not watch scary things and he does not do gore and he does not do horror. So he was like, okay, I'm just gonna step out. He was measuring my deck because he and my dad have a dream project on an in-ground pool that they're working on. And so he was like, it's fine, I'll just go like measure the deck. Okay. So then I was just like, the kiss started happening and I go, what the fuck? And he was like, are you okay? And I was like, I'm fine. But then what happened was I wasn't fine. Because
Right.
the rest
No,
of the
of
scene happened.
course. Yeah. And so the lights start flashing and Casey had texted this guy because the demon has gone into her or whatever and starts beating the hell out of him, like blood everywhere. Like another guy tries to step in, she hits him, like, and then she is just on top of him, and Henry starts to wake up in the midst of chaos. Again,
Well,
no one's doing anything. But to be fair, like I would also be terrified of her. Might not would be able to do anything at this point.
But I was like, here's a problem with things like this. I absolutely wanted that guy to get attacked because he fucking should not have touched her. But then what had happened was it wasn't just like somebody standing up for themselves. It was a fucking demon. So attack went from like defense to the most fucked up shit I've ever seen so fast.
Yeah. Like she's scratching him on his face and like claw. It looks like she's about to claw him to death. He does survive, but it's pretty touch
Barely.
and go, it seems.
But it's also like aggressively visual what is happening and the scratching.
Yeah.
And I was like screaming. Like I screamed and then I was like, oh, and I was making noises. And Dan was like, started to come in to like check on me. And I literally just go, do not come in here. Do not come in here. He goes, oh my God, is it that bad? I said, yes, leave. Just do not, because he was not going to handle it. The other day we were watching Criminal Minds, and it was the episode where the people like have the tattoo of the like thing. Well, but basically the person was into self-mutilation. So the serial killer in the episode was into self-mutilation, and they showed them like digging like a tattoo into their skin and like peeling skin off, and he couldn't watch that scene. Like he couldn't watch it, and I was like, "This, you definitely could not watch."
No,
he was so worried. He was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm fine. I just do not come in here."
Yeah, bless his heart. Bless his heart. Yeah. No, it was a rough scene. And Henry finally stands up and sees his daughter covered in blood, and he sees the demon within her. We don't visually see it, but you can tell that he like connects the dots. Yeah. And I mean, it's like he's other than the time that like Marcus saw her. I mean, that Tomas saw her. He's the one that's seeing all of her demonic interactions, which is what we talked about last week. How I think it's just going to get caught up because he's the one seeing everything, and no one's going to believe him. But then the jewelry box music starts playing again, which is always a fun way to end an episode. And here we are. This is what happens. This is where we are this week.
I told him this is my description of the episode to my dad when he asked how my day was. I said, I'm so glad that I put Courtney in charge of horror because it's one thing off my plate and I don't have to worry about it. And it's something that she knows more about than I do. Also, I'm fucking pissed that I put Courtney in charge of horror because I would like to never watch the show again.
To be fair, though, you picked this show.
I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. You wanted to watch the movie, and then I found out that the show went with the movie, and I was like, "Oh, that's a great idea."
I was gonna pick something. I was gonna pick like a dark comedy, like horror comedy, and you were like, "Let's do The Exorcist" because there's a movie and a TV show. I was like, "Oh, that's great! I've never watched them. Great plan." So, to be fair, this is your fault, but I'm not mad about it.
What the fuck did I do? What did I think I was doing? What is wrong?
And then the new movie comes out. It was a marketing scheme. You know it was.
No, it was.
You're just
It was.
suffering for the market.
No, the thing was, it was me trying to make our show more relevant for the new movie, and I was marketing us.
Right.
I was also an idiot.
You were thinking about the show and not yourself,
Yeah,
which
I was
is
thinking about.
great.
I was
That's
thinking
how
about.
I'd like
Yeah,
to live
I
my
was thinking
life.
about the podcast as a business, not about my own
Hmm.
mental damage that would happen from watching
Right.
this show.
Well, look, no pain, no gain. That's what I'm here to say as we watch The Exorcist.
So much pain. All of the pain.
All of the pain. Yeah, speaking of, I have no trivia for this episode. Nothing happened. They were like, I went to IMDb. It was like, do you want to be the first person to add trivia to this? I was like, absolutely not. No, thank you.
No, no, thank you.
So, who do you want to punch in the face?
The creepy fucking demon. Not only, I mean, if
Yeah,
here's the thing. Demon's always going to be the bad guy. I get it. It's a show about demons,
right.
demonic possession. Demons are going to be the bad guy. Probably that would be an easy one to pick every week. But I'm trying to go with like specific instances of like genuinely like beyond the normal fucked up. And making out with a teenager on a bus or on a train is just really,
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm watching. It was so long and so close on their faces. So uncomfortable. All I could think of how literally, first of all, I was uncomfortable as shit in the moment. But then also, all I could think about was how uncomfortable it must have been for that poor actress to make out with this old dude.
I thought that's all I could think about. That's all I could think about watching this scene. I don't even know character wise.
No, character wise, I'm confused. But human wise, I am vomiting in my mouth.
Yep. I was like, this is not good. This doesn't.
And this is coming from someone who's literally said they would have sex with Steven Tyler. I can't.
I feel like that's different though. Like,
yeah,
that's different. But well, if it makes you feel better, the demon was third on my list, so he wasn't even the top. I did not have as hard of a time picking someone. I picked Miss Walters.
Marina, yeah, she's a bitch.
I hate her. I know she's the downfall of everything. I think she is the reason Casey got possessed. This is my predictions. I think she's trying to do something to the Pope, and I think she's balled her way into a lot, but that also I think she has some kind of like demonic thing going on.
I don't think that is a terrible, terrible answer.
Yeah,
I
think she's the one. So based on how much I hate her already and my predictions, she's the one.
The only thing I have to say for predictions is that it has been too long since we've seen little Luis, and so I'm nervous for him.
Oh, I forgot about him. Yeah, he's gonna come back and it's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be bad because it's gonna be part of the attacking Tomas personally part of it.
Yeah, for sure. So who's your MVP then?
My MVP is weirdly Father Bennett.
Okay, that's not weird. That's not bad. That's a good one.
I think the difference. I mean, obviously there have been other episodes where he has not been great, but I think the fact that he is like doing his job and not losing his place in like the pecking order of the church, but also being like, I think we need to do something, and you, Father Marcus, are the only person I can trust to do it. Right. So I'm going to bend the rules a little bit because there are bad things happening, but I have to stay close to the Pope because he is actually a good person, and if the church is at risk, he can't get hurt.
Someone has to protect him. Yeah.
I was like, okay.
That's a good answer. That's probably the best answer. I didn't even think about him. I like it. I went with Henry. He's like trying so hard to protect Casey.
Fantastic answer.
Bless his heart. And like, I feel like he has the least resources because he is trying to figure himself out, doing all this stuff. And like, and God, he's just trying so hard to be such a good dad.
I feel like Father Bennett is going to have to sacrifice. No, it's not. It's not. But I also feel like it's not going to end well for Father Bennett. I feel like Father Bennett is going to have to sacrifice himself to save for the Pope. It's going to be rough.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I don't know that there's anybody that is really going to end great for. I don't like, I'm not like, oh, that person's gonna win. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna come out of this
Yeah.
very well.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, I think everybody's gonna suck in the end. Gonna suck for everyone. But it's fine. Yeah, so if you have thoughts, you have predictions, ideas, if you watched the trailer for the new one, I'm hearing that the trailer's out and people are already terrified of the new film coming out. Let us know your thoughts. I have not seen it yet.
Not either.
But I'm planning on going to the movies soon, so I might like maybe tomorrow, so I might see it. But yeah, so email us, deathandaliens@gmail.com. Feel free to find us on all the social medias at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And me at EMKAY_superstar. What are you trying to see at the movies?
I don't know. I just like a
Oh, okay.
movie. I have a free popcorn at Alamo Draft House. So I'll probably go see if the Barbie movie is available.
I think I'm going to the drive-in next week.
We could try it.
Yeah, and we're gonna see Haunted Mansion and the new Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I want to see. So I've never seen any of the Indiana Jones, but
Well,
so
the thing
I
is,
think
Barbie is playing, but with Meg 2.
what?
Meg 2, the new Megalodon movie. So Barbie is paired up
Oh,
with
like at the drive-in.
Oh, at the drive-in, the double feature. Yeah, the drive-in.
They're
The
playing.
drive-in, the double feature.
I see what you're saying.
Barbie is playing with Meg too, so not gonna see that. Oppenheimer is playing with something terrifying looking, but also Oppenheimer is fucking 3 hours long.
Oh, is it the Take the Hand or whatever?
Yes, that's what
I want to see that too.
Yeah, but so it's Oppenheimer and Take Me by the Hand, but it's gonna like Take Me by the Hand doesn't even start till 12:55. Like that's how fucking late this is. And then there's like I think Ninja Turtles is playing with something that I don't know.
Yeah.
But so then the other screen is Haunted Mansion and Indiana Jones, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what it is. But so Haunted Mansion and Indiana Jones, I was like, perfect. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I think I don't know what I'll try to either see Theater Camp came out too. I've heard that's gonna be good.
Oh, I've heard that's
Theater Camp,
good.
Haunted Mansion, Talk to Me, or Barbie. I'll probably go try and see Barbie if it's already sold out for tomorrow night. Yeah. So I won't be going to see Barbie. I'll probably be going to see Haunted Mansion then if I can.
Okay.
So I have a free popcorn at Alamo Draft House, and they give you this like gigantic bowl of popcorn. So like I'll probably have that for dinner, and it's free. So
love that.
And I'll need a mental break probably before I get into my CLEs.
If I go to the drive-in on Sunday, we can talk about Haunted Mansion next week. But if I don't see it till Tuesday, we can't talk about it yet.
Correct. Excellent. Yes, we'll look into it. I love it. So thanks for listening to our extended version of the episode. I hope you also see Haunted Mansion this week.
Please.
And want to talk about it with us.
Because Alrighty. you know how we'll talk about how much we hate Jared Leto. It'll be great. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh yeah, we love doing that. Bye.